Hi, I'm Dr. Vonda Wright, and welcome to our third Roadmap to Resilience class. As we mentioned in our previous classes, studies show that resilience is made of 3 C's: commitment, control, and challenge. After studying the first C last week, which was commitment, let's take a closer look at control. When we talk about control as it pertains to hardiness, what we're really talking about is a spectrum of the way we feel. Sometimes we feel in situations that we have absolutely no control over anything that happens. I'm an orthopedic surgeon and I lead a department of people. And when COVID came around, I realized that I could not control COVID as a virus. I could not control what information was being released and what we followed. But what I could do was take control of the decisions that we could make to keep our patients safe and our staff safe and even our families safe. So while I couldn't control the country, I could make those little decisions like washing our hands, wearing masks, completely converting our practice to telemedicine while we had to. And by exerting that small area of control, it made us feel safer and more hardy. In this class, Dr. Bartone and Dr. Stein, the authors of the Hardiness book, will be back to explain what it means to have a strong sense of control. Then, Dr. Betsy Chung, clinical psychologist, will share tips on what you can do to be more in control. And finally, Paul Rieckhoff, veteran of the United States Army and one of the most dynamic leaders and social entrepreneurs in America, will share his personal story of resilience and control. So let's get started.
Control is just the belief that you can influence what's going on in your life, and what you do makes a difference in how things turn out in the end. The being high in hardiness control means that you like to take action, you like to solve problems and get things done. But too much control can lead to micromanaging, trying to control everything in your own life, which easily can make you and everyone around you quite miserable. The thing about hardiness control is that hardy people realize that they can't control everything. They recognize the things that they can't control or that they might need help with, and they aren't afraid to ask for help or to change directions when one approach isn't working so well.
Control gives you a sense of confidence and hope. By understanding and acting on what's within your sphere of control, you could experience change and even improvement in your situation. Many people with mental health challenges feel helpless and unable to control what's in their environment. They experience a sense of helplessness, and helplessness can lead to despair. Control is something we can definitely change. We start by focusing on the small things. What are the little things in our life we'd like to change? Ideally, we've already worked on commitment. If we have a purpose, then we know what direction we want the change to go in. And we can break down that bigger purpose, the really important things, into smaller and smaller pieces. So it helps to set timelines, specifically define the things you want to change, have very specific measurable goals. A simple example of control, yet not always easy to do, would be, let's say you have this thing of losing weight. That's your big goal. You want to lose weight. So by changing some of the smaller habits, instead of reaching for the chocolate cookies, you might replace them with some tasty, healthy snack. And as you get used to these smaller changes and build these habits, you find it gets easier to make larger changes and build tougher habits.
Control is the hopes that that you really are and the driver of your commitment. Control is the relinquishing of everything that makes sense with the hopes of being able to tailor life as you see it. Because oftentimes control is unattainable.
When we have what we call an external locus of control, what that means is that we believe that life is, life just happens to us. When we want something and we get it, it's because of luck. And so the problem with luck is that we don't have any control over luck. Luck is basically just like, I'm going to sit here and see what the universe will throw at me. But when we can, transition from an external locus of control to believing more in an internal locus of control, that means that we do believe that we have the power to change some things. And the way that we can learn how to, gain more control over our lives and over things that happen to us is that realizing that we really have no control over anything external, meaning we can't control people, we can't control outcomes, we can't control situations. What we can control is how we respond to situations, what we tell ourselves about situations, how we behave in order to influence or increase the chances that we can get a desired outcome. But in the end of the day, we really don't have control over anything outside of our, of our being.
What I see in myself and what I see with my clients is that when someone is, quote, being controlling, or someone is needing control in something, really what they're trying is to create safety in their life, in their environment, in their relationship. When you're experiencing somebody who you would consider to be controlling, or you see that in yourself, then I think taking the word out and the association with it out and looking at, okay, so what do I need to feel safe? What does this person need to feel safe? And speak to that in specifics.
If I think about what made me resilient, I spent, time in a war zone in the Army. I was a first responder at Ground Zero on 9/11. Candidly, this year in the pandemic has been harder for me than any other year of my life, I think, because there's been so much adversity, so much change, and also because, our whole community is along for the ride. When I went to Iraq, it was 39 guys in a platoon who were trained for combat. And that was almost easier because they were trained for it. But we were taught about, how to be resilient, how to be resourceful, which I think is a really important part of resilience. But more than anything else, I think what I've learned about resilience, and I think was really sharpened in combat, is that it's about attitude. It's about waking up every morning and recognizing there are going to be difficulties. But if you have a positive attitude, if you make a choice to endure and to get through it and to keep your eyes on the prize and looking forward, then you can get through it. The concept of control, I think, defines every part of my life experience. I mean, the way I've probably used the term is more coming from the military background or just my personal background as an athlete and as a coach is discipline. I think there's a recognition that there are things that you can control, even in what seems like an uncontrollable situation, whether it's a natural disaster or combat. There are still what we call in the military a sphere of influence that you can control. You can control your own attitude. You can control your breathing. In the military, we often say, stay frosty, stay cool, because things are going to get hot, bullets are going to fly, people are going to get sick, changes will come, but you've got to stay frosty. Try to stay cool, try to keep your composure. You will get emotional, you will have surprises, but if you can keep your calm and be thoughtful and use all the faculties that you have, you'll be better off. Panic won't help, and losing your composure definitely won't help, and will likely make things worse. So especially when times get tough, we say stay frosty.
Now it's your turn to start building control. Try the following. Number 1, focus your time and energy on things you can control or influence. Think of one thing in your life that you can't control, but you wish you could. Maybe it's changing a coworker or a family member's behavior. Maybe you wish you could go back in time and do something differently or react differently. You can't change it, but you can change the way you feel about it. Coming to terms with it and knowing what you can and can't control is half the battle. Surrender, accept, and be kind to yourself. One thing you can do is express how you feel about it. Talk to that coworker, not so you can change their behavior, but so they can see how their actions affected you. Another thing you can do, don't think about what took place in the past, and instead, imagine yourself doing that thing differently in the future. Number 2, work on tasks that are within your capabilities. Ask yourself, what am I great at? Communicating, solving problems, giving your kids your attention and putting the phone down, being in the moment, or multitasking? What are your superpowers? Be honest with yourself. Don't over or undersell your abilities. Ask a trusted person what they think you're great at. Sometimes a more objective observer sees your strengths more easily than you do. Use your strengths to get things done. When you're dealing with something difficult, access your superpowers. Number 3, don't procrastinate. Sometimes procrastination stems from having goals that are too difficult to execute. So how do you get started? Define the project you're trying to work on. Write it down. Then break your big goal into smaller, manageable pieces. Instead of write a book, make a list that reads 1, make an outline. 2, write chapter 1. Reward yourself for accomplishments as you complete each piece leading to your goal. That can mean eating your favorite food, in moderation, of course, watching TV, calling a friend. Setting manageable goals will help you feel more motivated, which will help you build control. If you have any questions, please use the comments section and we'll make sure to answer during our next Q&A. Also, make sure to subscribe to ShareCare's YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. See you next time.